Imagine the sound of crushing metal, a relentless, deafening grind echoing through the cavernous space of a massive industrial warehouse. But if you look closely at the steel conveyor belt feeding this mechanical beast, you will not see garbage. You will not see scrap metal or discarded waste. You will see pristine, unopened boxes of the latest generation smartphones. You will see designer leather bags that cost more than a vehicle, still suffocating in their protective plastic wrapping. You will see zero-kilometer automotive parts, flawless transmission blocks, high-end alternators, and internal computers for luxury cars, all moving steadily, unstoppably, toward absolute destruction. We are conditioned from birth to believe that the factory is a place of creation. We are taught that the machinery of capitalism is an engine of efficiency, designed to build, to assemble, to generate value, and to sell. But I am going to reveal to you the darkest, most heavily guarded secret of the modern industrial world. The most vital, essential machine in the corporate empire is not the one that builds, it is the one that destroys. Every single year, billions of dollars of perfect, flawless products are quietly ground into dust, shredded into unrecognizable fragments, or burned in massive furnaces by the very same companies that manufactured them. The capitalist machine does not hate waste, it hates devaluation. And the cold, calculated math behind this destruction will completely change how you look at every price tag you see from this day forward. If you are enjoying our channel, subscribe and turn on the little bell so you don't miss any content. It helps us a lot, and it's free. To understand this twisted reality, we have to look past the showroom floor and dive into the brutal math of exclusivity. You might logically think that if a company produces too many items, the sensible step is to discount them, sell them cheaper, recoup the manufacturing costs, and allow the product to fulfill its purpose. But that is the logic of a consumer, not a global corporation. Let's look at the luxury market, where this practice isn't just a logistical accident, it is a fundamental, heavily protected business strategy. A few years ago, a massive scandal broke out when it was revealed that one of the world's most prestigious fashion houses had systematically burned nearly $40 million worth of unsold clothes, accessories, and perfumes in a single fiscal year. And they were not an anomaly. Brands spanning high-end jewelry, luxury watches, and elite technology have destroyed literal mountains of their own perfect creations. Why? Because the real product they are selling isn't a mechanical watch or a wool coat. They are selling scarcity. They are selling the illusion of absolute prestige and untouchable status. If a $3,000 luxury bag goes on clearance for $300, it instantly loses its aura. Suddenly, ordinary people can afford it. And if ordinary people can afford it, the elite buyers who purchase it specifically for status will abandon the brand completely. The brand's equity would plummet overnight. Therefore, to keep the price artificially astronomical, the abundance must be annihilated. The destruction of perfect goods is essentially an aggressive insurance policy against the democratization of luxury. But this dark corporate strategy is not limited to the shiny, untouchable world of high fashion and elite vehicles. It happens every single day in the very places where you buy your daily essentials. Let's step away from the sterile corporate boardrooms and walk onto the unforgiving concrete floors of the world's largest e-commerce warehouses. Imagine for a moment being a logistics worker in one of these colossal fulfillment centers. You are on your feet for 10 to 12 hours a day, pushing your body to the absolute limit to meet impossible digital quotas. You are earning a modest wage, carefully managing every cent just to pay rent and put food on the table. And then, your manager hands you a new task. You are instructed to take wooden pallets full of perfectly good items, brand new laptops, noise-canceling headphones, high-end winter coats, flat-screen televisions, and unopened toys, and throw them directly into an industrial compactor. This is the daily reality for thousands of workers worldwide. The severe psychological toll of this task is something corporations actively silence. Imagine the crushing cognitive dissonance of being forced to destroy something you would have to work 3 grueling months just to afford. You are holding a piece of technology that could change a student's life, or a coat that could keep someone warm through a freezing winter, and your only job is to press the heavy steel button that crushes it into a cube of useless, shattered trash. Faced with a machine that defies all logic but ruins perfectly good products to protect a profit margin, what would you have done in the place of these floor workers? Leave me your opinion in the comments, because the justification the industry uses next will change everything you thought you knew about corporate responsibility. You see, the reason these giant e-commerce platforms and retail conglomerates destroy so much perfectly good inventory comes down to a brutal, deeply cynical exploitation of legal frameworks and tax loopholes. When you look at it from a strict legal and accounting perspective, the system actually incentivizes destruction over donation. If a massive corporation donates a warehouse full of unsold electronics or clothing to charity, they often have to navigate a labyrinth of tax liabilities, paying taxes on the assessed market value of those goods. Furthermore, they open themselves up to potential legal liability and intellectual property risks if a donated product somehow malfunctions or re-enters the gray market. But if they completely destroy the products, they can legally write it off as a total loss, a massive tax deduction. It is literally, mathematically cheaper and legally safer for a multi-billion-dollar corporation to feed thousands of new computers into an industrial shredder than it is to give them to schools that desperately need them. The legal system is rigged to reward annihilation, but it gets significantly darker. When the public slowly started finding out about these industrial shredders and the massive hidden bonfires of unsold goods, there was widespread outrage. People demanded immediate change, and the corporations listened. But they didn't stop destroying the products. They just got infinitely better at hiding the evidence. Welcome to the era of industrial greenwashing. Today, when you catch a major brand disposing of millions of dollars of new inventory, they will look you straight in the eye and tell you they are doing it for the environment. They don't call it burning clothes anymore. They have rebranded the destruction as thermal energy recovery. They ship thousands of tons of pristine, unsold garments and electronics to massive high-tech incinerators. These sprawling facilities burn the brand new items to boil water, generating a tiny, practically insignificant fraction of electricity. And because they captured a minuscule amount of energy from the fire, the brand gets to legally label the destruction as a sustainable, zero landfill initiative. It is a brilliant, terrifying manipulation of language and law. They are burning the planet's finite resources, polluting the atmosphere, and destroying perfectly usable goods, all while proudly slapping a green environmental logo on their annual corporate sustainability report. We have reached a point where there are entire factories operating right now, whose sole purpose is reverse logistics. Think about the sheer madness of that paradox. We have built massive, highly efficient assembly lines across the globe, mining rare earth metals, shipping heavy components across the oceans on diesel-burning cargo ships, utilizing thousands of hours of human labor, all to assemble a pristine product that will immediately be shipped to a disassembly line to be ground into dust. The product was born already condemned to death. The energy, the human sweat, the precious natural resources, all completely wasted to maintain an artificial price point on a corporate spreadsheet. When you finally realize the scale of this invisible machine, the world starts to look very different. The scarcity you see in the market, the high prices that keep you working day after day, are entirely manufactured. You are not just paying for the raw materials and the labor required to build your phone, your car, or your clothes. You are paying the invisible tax of destruction. You are paying for the dozens of identical, perfect products that the factory had to burn, shred, and crush just to make absolutely sure the one in your hand remained expensive. The ultimate product of these factories is not the physical item you buy. The ultimate product is the absolute control over your perception of value. The control over what you are willing to sacrifice to own a piece of their carefully manufactured scarcity. If you ignore this reality, you will continue to be a pawn in a rigged industrial game, where the house always wins, and where perfection is just another word for trash.